Morning and welcome to our YouTube channel. If you've not already, please can you make sure you like this video because it's going to be amazing, and also subscribe to my channel. Make sure you check out the website KIHT.co.uk. Today I wanted to interview Sam. I'm part of the eSpark programme which I joined a couple of months ago. Sam's my enabler, which I'll explain what that actually means in a minute, or Sam will explain. And it's just been like a really good thing for me. Sam's doing some amazing things and I just thought she's a really inspiring woman. So I just wanted to do a little interview with her today and talk about what she does because it's really cool, and hopefully inspire you guys or anyone out there thinking about setting up a business to look at eSpark or just to do it basically. I suppose like your job is quite an unusual role, and that's why I don't feel confident trying to describe it.
Yes.
So if you'd like to just talk about like what you actually do in your job here at eSpark.
Yeah. So an enabler entrepreneurial spark has a hugely varied job. But what we do essentially is we work with businesses one-on-one. So Entrepreneurial Spark is actually powered by NatWest, and it's the largest free accelerator in the world.
Wow.
So we get to see a huge array of businesses here. So we deal with businesses from anywhere from startup to from idea right through to scale up. So they can be turning over 100,000, be going for £250,000 worth of investment, and we support them through that.
What do you think is probably one of the biggest things that you've learned here so far? I mean, working with 200 businesses.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I feel like working with the businesses and helping them sort of like almost, it's a bit like coaching, but enabling is really asking questions, so asking challenging questions.
Yeah.
So that, well, you'll know.
I know that.
Ask you the challenging questions. So it's to allow you to come to your own decisions and conclusions. So I don't advise businesses, which is what was very tempting to do when you first come into this role, but it's more about challenging them. And what I've really learned in this role is a lot of it is to do with mindset. So the businesses that we've seen really succeed and their businesses take off is those that focus on their mindset, so actually a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset. So no matter what goes wrong, you know, things can happen all the time when you're in a startup, as you know. Funding might not come through, or you might find things don't work out as planned, but actually if you have the growth mindset, then you will get through it, you'll find a way. So that's what I've found that really sticks out. Another thing that's really important as well, and what I've learned, is actually the job that myself and other enablers do in Entrepreneurial Spark is really important. However, the community is the most important thing. So if you are a startup business and you're starting out, it's not to isolate yourself at home and actually join a community, whether it be Entrepreneurial Spark or another co-working space, just so that you can see people go through the same problems as you and realise that it's not just you, there's loads of other people and everyone is here to help. Like the amount of support in Brighton, where it works as well as enabler, as well as Manchester, the free support is amazing. You've just got to go and find it.
It is incredible. I have to say I found it an amazing experience so far. You talked about that you work a lot with entrepreneurs. What do you think is the biggest challenge you face with entrepreneurs?
I mean, there's loads of different challenges. Obviously everything from financial to home life. I guess one of the biggest ones that's probably the most untalked of is around mental health. So issues like anxiety, depression, those things come up quite regularly in the one-to-ones that I have. So really it's around helping the entrepreneurs come up with a strategy to get around that.
And how do you, because I can imagine it's quite a personal subject to be able to deal with, how do you actually help, not coach, but enable an entrepreneur to get through that or overcome it?
It's helping the entrepreneur to look at sort of their work-life balance really, and seeing what's actually going on. What are they spending their time on? Are they burning themselves out? Because when you don't have the 9 to 5, like when do you ever stop working? A lot of people work evenings, weekends, so when do you actually have any time to yourself? So what we regularly do is speak to the entrepreneurs around what hobbies they enjoy, what they like doing, because I know from my personal experience I've suffered from anxiety in the past. Everybody's got like really hectic lives, doing loads, like too much probably, being online all the time, to emails, you never switch off. So for me, what really helped was I love running, and I just hadn't really been doing any running, didn't have time, but it's actually making the time to do that. So I found that really helps, and it's around being we talk a lot about mindfulness and being in that moment, because either you're thinking about what you're doing next week or what you did last week, but you're never thinking about what's happening now. So different things will work for different people, so it's actually finding out what works for you and carving out that time to do it.
Wow. And so you mentioned with you suffering from anxiety, you found like running really helped you. How did you get from the problem, which is the anxiety, to finding, I suppose, not the solution but something that helps you, which was running? So I'm sure it's different for everybody, but what led you to get to that bit?
So it's one of the biggest things for me was actually talking to people about anxiety, and like mentioning again, like the Brighton Girl group that I was a part of, that was a conversation that came up really regularly around a lot of the girls suffering from anxiety, and people would share what helps them, or if they've been through it themselves, what worked. So I had a couple of suggestions, which was around, you know, meditation, running, kind of going to the gym, exercise, like really just like looking after yourself better. And for me, it was the running that really helped. So getting outside, running around a park, you know, somewhere where there was a lot of sort of greenery, just because I spent so much time in an office without realising it, not really getting any fresh air or going out much. So that really helped just switch my mind off from everything that was going on, and just focus a bit more on me and what I was feeling, rather than worrying about all this other stuff, because it really, a lot of it doesn't matter. You know, things with work, it can all wait. The most important thing is looking after you and your health.
So brilliant. Just out of interest, do you still suffer from it, or can you feel it? Because I don't think you ever just get rid of something like that, do you? Are you more probably aware of symptoms, or where you're starting to feel more anxious or anything like that you can now be like, right, I'll go for a run tonight? Do you find that?
Oh yeah, I still like you know, kind of get bouts of anxiety. I think anyone that's ever suffered with anxiety will kind of have those from time to time, and it's just noticing when your life has shifted back to like more of a hectic state of, you know, you're not finding the time to do the things that, you know, enjoy, or those that are good for you, that kind of lower the anxiety. So I mean, even speaking with you today, like here, it's you know, for me it's like completely out of my comfort zone to be doing an interview, but really you kind of come up with strategies to sort of calm, you know, that voice inside your head down. And sleep is important.
Brilliant.
Getting enough sleep is really important. So everyone always says it, and I, you know, used to think it doesn't matter how much you sleep, as long as you get some sleep. But actually everyone's different, so you've got to work out how much sleep you need. So on days or weeks that I don't get enough sleep, I really notice a change in myself. So for me now, kind of sleeping, eating properly, exercising. I say exercising, I don't always get to do it, but it is kind of, you know, trying to work that into your routine as much as possible.
If there's anybody out there watching this video who's thinking about setting up a business, or has got an idea, or is pining after wanting to do something on their own, what would be the one piece of advice you would give them?
So if you are thinking about starting a business, one piece of advice that I could, one of the many, is to just get something out there as soon as possible. So a lot of the entrepreneurs that we see, like, because it's your business, it's your idea, you don't want to put it out there until it's absolutely perfect. You want to make sure it's absolutely right. But what we see is the businesses that put something out there, even if it's just like, you know, a PowerPoint or something that you can show people so that they can get the idea, you find that you get feedback a lot faster, and that means that you can change the proposition or the product a lot quicker. So actually don't wait until it's perfect, just get the initial concept out there as soon as possible, and then see what people say.
Brilliant, that's a really good one actually. And it's cheap as well, guys. I've come into this hub, and it's been really an interesting dynamic working with a lot of different people from a lot of different industries or walks of life. And do you find that there's a difference between the men and women that come in here and the way they sort of interact or are within business or new businesses? It's just interesting.
So in Entrepreneurial Spark, we I think it's around 50-50, something split between men and women. But however, we do know that especially in Manchester, there seems to be an unrepresentation of women in businesses, starting up businesses. I'd say the main difference that I've seen whilst working here is definitely to do with confidence. So I think this is something that's broader than startups and entrepreneurialism. It's something that goes further than that. We see it in terms of like pitching, when women do their pitch and they get to the bit about traction is what you've done and what you're really proud of. I think women just tend to not, you know, sort of play up their strength as much as men. I'd say that was probably the biggest difference. So the one piece of advice I could give is to find a mentor, somebody that you can go to and talk to about those things, like how, you know, sort of how to be more confident, how to play up your strengths, because in this game, especially when it comes to pitching and going for investment, it is all about how you come across, and it's 60-second pitch is such a short amount of time, and it's really important that you really get in the key points and not underplay yourself.
Sam's mentioned the pitch, and I know like a big thing what you guys do here is about the pitch and the 60-second pitch, and it is one of those things that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Can you just talk about that and like what it is and why it's important?
Yeah. So the 60-second pitch is so important in Entrepreneurial Spark, and one of the main reasons for that is that it gets your business idea across in a super short amount of time. So if you met somebody, say in a lift, which is the usual example, everyone gives the elevator pitch, or if you just met someone at a networking event, you can actually just get your business idea across, because if it takes too long, people switch off and they're not listening anymore. So the 60-second pitch takes your whole business idea and just condenses it down. So it's getting across the idea, what the pain point is, who the key customers are, what your traction is, and then the most important thing around the 60-second pitch is actually the ask at the end. So asking for something relevant in your business. So it might be, you know, you need somebody who's really good at marketing, or you're actually looking for investment, because if people don't know what you're looking for, they aren't able to help. So I think it's really important for a business to have a pitch.
So I think probably the final thing just to ask you before we move on, if anybody out there watching this likes the sound of the NatWest eSpark thing, how do you get into it, and how do you find out or apply? What's the just talk us through it.
No, that's fine. So actually applying is really, really simple. So all you have to do is go on to the Entrepreneurial Spark website, and you'll see there that we have 4 programs, so Sprint, Enable, Grow and Scale. So depending on what stage business you're at the moment, whether it's idea or if you've got a bit of traction, a bit of turnover, you'll fall into one of those 4 programs. So all you do is, it's a really short application form online. We have an intake every 3 months.
I'll also put the website and stuff below, and also on this little clip as well, so you can see. But yeah, and also the other thing I forgot to mention, if you have any questions about any of this, just below in the comments, and me or Sam will come back to you. That would be amazing. Okay, fab. Right, so one of the other reasons I really wanted to interview Sam, because alongside doing the amazing crazy job that she does outside of work, she's also set up a amazing group called Manchester Girl. Sam, if you could just talk about the Manchester Girl network which you've set up.
So I moved to Manchester back in May earlier this year, and because I was moving to a new city, spoke to Pippa, who's the founder of City Girl Network, about actually bringing Manchester Girl to Manchester. So we set up in May earlier this year. We started off with just me, so I just put a post out on Meetup group. So if you're looking for Manchester Girl, you can go to either Meetup, or you can actually find us on Facebook. There's a Facebook group as well. So just put it out on there, and we had our first meetup, and I think it was around 9 people showed up. So it doesn't sound like a lot of people, but actually when you're new to a city, you've only just moved there, and going to meet a random bunch of people that you've never met before is quite daunting.
Oh my god, yeah.
So actually 9 was, I was really pleased with that 9 people showed up. So the coffee meetup is something that we run on a monthly basis, so usually around sort of the last Sunday of every month, we run the coffee meetup. It's from 12 till 2, and it's just an opportunity to get to know some girls in Manchester, might have just moved to the city, or they might have been here longer.
Why did you decide to do this off your own back when you already work like full time? It's crazy.
I know, taking on even more events.
I know, it's so good.
So the reason I decided to do it is because when I ever moved to a new city, it's always been a really daunting experience, and I've always wanted, to find a group of like-minded people, and it's really difficult. So I just wanted to make that easier for other people. So when I moved to Brighton Girl helped me so much, in finding sort of my tribe and my kind of group of girls. So I really wanted to just give that back to other people. So I think it's a great initiative, and I know that Pippa's thinking about rolling out into more cities, and I think it's really good, because I think when you move to a city it's just so scary, and just finding a group of people, even if you just meet them up with them once a month, you start to form friendships, and then you can go off and do other things together. So
yeah, the group's been going since May.
Yeah.
And where would you like to see it get to? Because obviously it's nice to have goals for stuff.
Yes. So I think we're currently at 400 members.
Wow.
I think so.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll need to check that number.
400.
400. So yeah, so I'd love to see it grow further than that.
Yeah.
So, maybe reach 1,000 members.
Wow.
There's a lot of girls aged between 20 and 30 in Manchester, so the more we can get of those, the better, just for people moving into the city. Because once you've sort of been to the group and you've got a group of friends, you might want to leave, you might not want to be part of Manchester Girl anymore, but the main reason for it is to help new people moving to the city to find those initial friendship groups.
Which is amazing. To move to a new city for a job or a career path is a really incredible and quite a brave thing to do. Can you just talk through your experience of what it's like to take that, I suppose, jump or plunge, whatever you want, and do that move?
Yeah. So since leaving university, I've just been moving all the time.
Okay.
All the time. All my friends know me for someone who just moves around all the time. So a lot of it has been jobs. So when a job opportunity comes up and it's in a city, it might be quite far away, I'm the kind of person that just goes, what I've got to lose, and just move there. So that's the exciting bit. But then actually when you get to a new city, that's when it really hits home that you've left all your friends behind, everything you knew, maybe it's family, maybe it's your old job, and that's when it starts to, you kind of realisation, and it can be quite lonely.
I can imagine that anyone thinking about taking that career leap and moving to a new city, what advice would you offer them?
I'd definitely say do it, because you will spend all day looking at pros and cons about moving or staying, but at the end of the day, you only live once, and what's the worst that could happen? I've lived in London, lived in Brighton, Cheltenham, Manchester, Lancaster. I've lived quite a few places within the UK, never lived abroad, unfortunately. What I've noticed is I'll spend a lot of time adding up the pros and cons, but you always get something out of the experience. So whether it's, even if it's terrible and it hasn't worked out, it teaches something about yourself. So you don't like living in that part of the world, or it might have been that it wasn't the right job, but you can find something out. So I always say go for it, because when you throw yourself into those situations, you survive, you come out of it, and it actually makes you a lot stronger.
You were part of the City Girl Network in Brighton. Is the network in any other cities? I'm just thinking if people are thinking about moving and going through exactly the same thing as you, is it in any other cities?
Yeah, so this is what Pippa, who founded City Girl Network, really hoped to get out of the business, is actually providing sort of a safety net for people, for girls that are moving cities. So we have in the City Girl Network now, we've got Bristol, Birmingham, Brighton, Edinburgh, Manchester, and also Berlin. So first international City Girl Network in Berlin.
So you can move abroad.
I know you can move abroad. So that is the idea. So Pippa's vision is to have City Girl Network everywhere, so that you can move. So for instance, I went to Bristol for a work meeting. I didn't really know anyone there, but didn't want to go for dinner on my own, like a city I didn't know where to go for dinner. So I went onto their Facebook group and asked if anyone was free. So then I met one of the Bristol girls for dinner, which was really nice. And
I suppose that means as well, you don't end up going to some rubbish little restaurant. If they're from that area, they'll be like, we'll go here. So which is great as well.
What's really great about City Girl Network, Manchester Girl, is it is an offline community. So you have a lot of online communities with Instagram, Facebook, but girls actually meeting offline. But it's really nice that there's the online too. So if you do need recommendations, you move to a new city, you've got nowhere, where do I get my hair done? Don't trust, don't trust any hairdressers with your hair other than your hairdresser. So it's like really important recommendations about hairdressers, about where to go for food, drinks, like where do I take my mum and dad for dinner, all those sorts of things can be really handy.
This is perhaps another personal question for you, because I mean, you've moved tons of cities, you sound like you've had like quite a crazy, amazing career as well. What advice would you give to somebody, as I suppose more of a personal advice, from what you've learned so far in your career and moving and everything?
Yeah. I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier about just going for things, because I used to worry about making mistakes. So I used to think, oh, I kind of don't want to do anything in case I make a mistake. What I've learned now is actually making mistakes can really pay off in the long run. So I look back at some of the mistakes that I think that I made in my career, or since leaving uni, or even at university, but now I look back, I think, you know, they've got me to where I am today and made me the person I am. So actually they're not mistakes, they're actually just ways that you learn more about what you want to do. And I'd say that everybody says this, but I'd say it as well, that the 20s are just such a crazy time. Like, you think you're going to get your life together when you're in your 20s, like when you're a teenager you think my 20s is when I'm going to get my life together, but actually 20s is all about making mistakes. That is the time we just keep making mistakes. So I'd say, if you want to move city, if you want to do a new job, just go for it, because making mistakes is good. It means that you're learning and you're actually doing something different. So
what would you say, as a personal question, drives you?
So what drives me really throughout my whole career, and even like when I was younger, like studying, is actually just finding my purpose and trying to find out what it is that I really want to do, because I've enjoyed lots of different roles, but to be honest, a lot of them, and I feel like a lot of people will relate to this, is it doesn't feel like it's you being authentic to you, and it's like really doing what you're meant to do in this world. So I feel like even at Entrepreneurial Spark, I've loved doing this job, and it's taught me loads about what I like and what I don't like. But for me, it's about, you know, trying new things, going out there, really making a difference in the world. So that's what I'm really keen to do.
Amazing. So I suppose you've not found exactly what you're looking for yet in terms of your role or your career. So you just keep trying loads of different things.
I think it's you know, I love it. I've never actually went on to like a graduate scheme, but when I left uni, I thought, you know, there's no reason why you can't make your own sort of graduate scheme, like lots of different jobs, lots of different roles, experiences, because that's what it's all about. And I think the way that work is changing, that it's a lot more easy to do that now, to have like a portfolio career of different jobs, different roles. It's less seen as splitting around and more seen as you, as long as you've got a sort of core direction that you're going in. I think that, you know, I actually encourage people I know to do that, because you don't know what you want to do unless you try a few things out. So my advice for anybody who's really unhappy in their job and is looking to do something else, then just go for it, or even just look to start your own business. If you've got an idea, why not?
I love it. Just do it, guys. So I think one thing that's been really amazing for me on the eSpark programme is that you challenge us to actually look inside and look at our inner critic and sort of that little nagging voice inside that actually stops you doing things. And it's helped me to understand what mine is and what mine stops me doing. So what is your inner critic and what does it say to you?
So my inner critic is all around, I suppose, over worrying and catastrophizing situations. So I have a tendency for my mind to go a million miles ahead of any situation and just think, what's the worst that could possibly happen, and then worry that is going to happen, and that can really hold you back. So if you take that stuff seriously, you think, oh well, I won't do that because that might happen, or I won't do this, and you actually find that you end up just standing still. So one way that I kind of deal with that is I try to just be really logical and think, you know, talk myself down and sort of look at the facts. So for me, because like we could talk all day as well about personality types, you know, I love talking about that, but I'm an ENFP, so for me, I make decisions on how I feel about things. So what I've really learned how to do is to look at things logically, so think about the facts that are involved, because a lot of the time it's just me running away with, you know, sort of how I feel about situations, which sometimes has really stopped me. So for instance, with Entrepreneurial Spark and this role, you know, I told myself that I would never get this job because I didn't have any coaching experience. I'd never worked with startups in the past, a lot of this role is around running huge events, and I thought, how am I going to stand up in front of a load of startups to talk about how to start a business? And now I can do those things without even thinking. So it really has taught me that, you know, you might worry about doing something, you might worry about starting a business, you might worry about starting a new job or moving to a city, but actually once you've done it, you look back and think that was easier. And the more times you do things like that and really push yourself out of your comfort zone, the easier it becomes.
But my final question for you today is, who inspires you and who do you look up to?
So yeah, it's a really interesting question, and I think in the past, you know, I might have said somebody like a famous entrepreneur or someone like, you know, Beyonce or something. But after working in this role, what I found really inspirational is the entrepreneurs that I work with. So especially the female entrepreneurs that are also juggling family life, you know, they've got kids to look after, they're running a business, and they're absolutely smashing it at the same time, like getting investment. And it's just amazing. It's like a really inspiring place to work because of that, and all the things that, you know, like yourself go through, other entrepreneurs go through. Like, you don't have you know, an income coming in all the time. It really is about having, you know, that mindset and getting up every morning to run your own business. I find that super inspiring.
Oh, amazing, brilliant. Right, well, Sam, just thank you so much for doing this with me today. I thought it's been really good, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. I will put all the information that Sam's given today, I'll put below so you can have a look, access it. Again, any questions, please, below would be amazing, and we'll try and answer them for you. And yes, thanks very much for watching, guys. Thank you.